I think what's going to happen is that we're going to get legislation from a bunch of different places in a bunch of different ways. Uh, I think that also what's going to happen. So, I appreciate you mentioning kind of my work's been a lot more grassroots because it also kind of spins into my unique position, which is I've done a lot of work with smaller and mid-sized companies. Obviously, I did consult for a very large organization, and I've had a lot of big impact that I go talk to large organizations or workshop with them, et cetera. But I also have a bigger experience with small and mid-size. And what I'm hearing, a few things. So number one, yeah, these laws, California, Colorado, Connecticut, kind of Utah, impair with, let's just be honest, the GDPR, which is causing global impact. You have a lot of mid to large scale companies who are now required to follow those compliance rules. But then it's impacting small and mid-sized companies too, not because they're legally required, but because now they want to go work with those companies. They want to, their delivery service wants to integrate into Hyatt, or, there's some smaller marketing organization that wants to integrate into Salesforce or something like that. They have to more or less go through all the same certifications, same testing and compliance and everything to integrate, right? Or acquisitions or anything like that, to where it is changing the entire landscape. I think that as it piecemeal gets delivered across the United States, we'll continue to see that grow. I think thresholds, we've seen proposals throughout the Midwest where thresholds are less of, 50 or 25 million revenue, and actually as low as 10 million revenue.
Yeah.
Right. That's almost like a mom and pop shop.
Yeah, totally. Yeah.
Right. And so it's getting really low. I think eventually it becomes like tax brackets where a small organization has less responsibilities, but still has responsibilities. In a larger organization, it's much greater. I think that some of the things that are going to contribute to that moving forward, obviously, we got the conversation of Roe that opened up a big, like, stuff that we never wanted to talk about, but actually has been good for us to talk about, I think. Because it's enabled this conversation to where now we have a direct link to say, this is what we've been talking about as privacy professionals for 5, 10, 20 years. It's now coming to light. It's forcing that. I think we saw it come out in the polls, right?
Yeah, right. Yeah.
We also are seeing, or at least what I'm seeing, is the unionization of workforces. I think what we've been doing over the last 10 to 20 years in regards to locking down people's mental spaces, their minds, surveilling them at home, tracking their emails, all this kind of stuff, is reminiscent of times back in the early industrial revolution where we locked people into the buildings, right? We forced them to work long hours. We did all these things to their physical body in the industrial revolution when we were doing physical labor that we're now replicating in a behavioral way. What we're going to see is demand for workplace privacy. And they may have some really large, these employee unions may have some really large levers to pull on that legislation, either state by state or federally. And then the other thing too, obviously, children's privacy. Yeah. We're starting to see some movements in the States about it. I know from my conversations, I think that this is a no-brainer